Hi, everybody. This is Joy Lingerie, and you're listening to Matured Musicians with our guest, Doug Rusk, today. He's going to be telling us where he's come from since a year ago when we were first interviewing with him, and a little about his songwriting process. So, before we get started, I do want to introduce my sponsor, Luscious Moss Studio, which is owned and operated by Chad Christ in Edgewood, Washington. And Chad has a collaborative, creative environment in his studio to encourage the best out of his people. And he was basically set up for guitarists and drummers, but now he's kind of moved into the production as well, a little bit more than he was doing, but he's still very busy with Heart by Heart. So with that being said, if you have any needs, do look up on Facebook, Luscious Moss Studio, or Chad Christ in Edgewood, Washington. I think you'll find he can help you and answer your needs. So with that being said, how are you today, Doug?
I'm a little groggy, to be honest, but I'm doing okay.
What were you doing last night? I know what you were doing because I was there too.
You left before me.
Yeah, I've not. I've had some issues, but I'm working on it. Yeah.
I'm doing okay. Just kind of just getting started, really.
Okay.
And then I've got a show tonight, so.
Yes, I hope to be there.
Good.
Want to go to Spada, and then I want to go over and see.
Oh, so I can put in a plug, right? I can put in a plug for tonight. I'm playing the Oxford Saloon, 6 to 9 p.m.
Yes.
You don't need to watch the Seahawks.
Oh, that's right. Oh, well, maybe we'll just go to a sports bar. No. No. We'll be there tomorrow.
Hopefully they won't have the TV on.
So
it was just bad scheduling.
When I met you a year ago, you were telling me, that you were getting gigs and as a solo artist and a singer-songwriter. And I've gone to a few of your gigs, and you're very entertaining. Great music, good voice. People enjoy you. And the latest thing that you've been doing has been hosting jams, which I find very interesting. So,
yeah.
I mean, I fire you every now and then, but I still go. No, that's a joke. I don't
know.
And, I expect at a jam that mistakes are going to be made. But overall, you've come a long way. And you are hosting in two places that I know of, not hosting, but at least performing as a lead guitarist in the jam. You're hosting the Dock Tap House. Is it Dock something Tap House?
Dock's Riverside Tap House.
Yeah.
In Machias.
Great place. If you like a wood burning stove, that's the place to go. You'll find Doug opening the door when he gets warm.
Actually, first time I played there, it was like 90 degrees and we were outside on the deck. And then last time we played about 6 weeks later, it was it was cold and the wood fire stove was cranking. And we were inside.
Very nice. Very nice, warm environment. So it's every Wednesday night from 6 to 8?
Well, right now it's 6 to at least 9. So we may change it because there's a late crowd that likes to keep going till 11. So it might be later, but right now it starts at 6. And
oh, interesting.
It's a great opportunity for people that want to come and get more than 3 songs, because the way it's set up right now, pretty much everybody who comes in can end up playing at least 20 or 30 minutes.
Yeah, I played 3 songs with you and 3 songs solo. I needed that practice. I really did. And that was a great environment to do it.
Yeah.
And you also played from time to time, rather consistently in Duval Twin Dragon with Lynn Sorensen and Doug McGrew. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, that's been a really fun experience. I'm so glad that, in fact, you're the one that told me about that damn night. I didn't even know about it. It's pretty much right down the street from my house. So it's a real fun one, and so great getting to play with such high level, pro musicians.
Right.
And and to have them now ask me to co-host with them and be part of their hosting band was really an honor. And
Yes.
it's really kind of forced me to at least take my guitar playing a little bit, in a little more serious direction beyond just the acoustic solo shows.
When I first met you, that's what you were doing. And now you not only playing your acoustic guitar, but you also play an electric guitar.
Yeah.
And when you jam in those rock songs that you're doing, and I don't know exactly what years they're from, it's a sight to behold. It's very, very good. So
Well, thank you.
anyway, there's also another part of you that we haven't really talked about, but I think this is a good forum for it today. And he is going to play for us later, by the way. You also are a singer-songwriter, and there are a couple of songs that I really, really like. One of them is "A Common Man,"
Hmm.
and it's just the kind of song that it suits the time. It suits the time and place to be playing it, and I enjoy that song as well as "Bad Dream." Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And there's one other one, I can't think of it, that you play rather consistently. So
Yeah.
I also got to see the chords and practice you a little bit at your home um, to figure out how to play your songs, which aren't that difficult in the sense of where the chord changes are. But the complexity occurs in the way you put the song together. And that's what I like to talk about today is
Okay.
your how you go ahead and put all and how you can write so many. I don't know. I got to sit down and work and work. Sometimes it comes easy, but most of the time it takes me a year to get everything together. And you put them almost out almost weekly and post them on Reverb Nation. If anybody wants to go to a Reverb Nation and look up Doug Rusk, he's on there. Also, SoundCloud has a list of all of his songs. So I'm going to turn it over to you to tell us about it. I'm going to disappear. You're going
Well,
to be on
first,
screen.
oh, okay.
And then I'll be right here. So I will come back.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Well, as far as the songs, it is true. I write a lot of songs. I'm writing. I've really written a few, definitely at least 300 or 400 songs since I started writing songs, which was back in 1990. And I wrote a big chunk of songs in the period between 1990 and 98, and I was just starting another career at the same time. And then my music kind of got sidelined because of my other career, which I was a professional swimming coach. And I ended up just kind of getting out of music somewhat for a pretty big chunk of time from 1998 until 2012. And then I started going again, and I've definitely written a few hundred more songs probably since 2012. I do tend to just crank them out. They don't always stick. But I'd say for every song, I mean, maybe one in every 10 songs that I write, I end up, playing for more than the initial few weeks or months that I write it. But yeah, so I'm constantly writing, and it's just that creative process is really something I've just always enjoyed. Since I'll get back to that in a minute, but I do want to point out that I've only been it was only 2 years ago, so late 21. Basically, it was September, October 21 is when I made the decision to quit my other full-time job and just focus on music. So before that, I was just going out doing some open mics here and there, maybe once a week. Twice, it started getting to be more like twice a week, and still writing songs and things like that. That first year, I ended up, when I did go full-time to music, I played 70. I just went back and went through it. I played 75 shows that first year that were paid gigs. The second year, which I'm just kind of finished, from late 22 to late 23, it doubled that. Played 150 shows, so which has made it a little bit tougher to to spend much time on. I'm still writing a lot of songs and stuff, but I haven't been posting them. And as Joy pointed out, she says I post a lot of my songs weekly, and the truth is I'm pretty behind at the moment on that. So I have a ton of songs that need to be posted that haven't been, and a lot of songs that most of you have never heard. But anyway, I'm constantly writing, and basically the way I approach writing a song is it usually just happens like in the morning after a cup of tea or whatever. I grab my guitar and just sit down and try to have a blank slate. I try not to think about anything. I just kind of let my mind go blank, and I just start banging away on the guitar and just see what comes out. I really just try to get a vibe or some kind of a groove, a rhythm going that is unique or that I think sounds cool to me. And then I'll sing a counter melody over it with just a bunch of made up words. And, that's kind of how it starts. And usually within, some days I don't like where the idea is going. I'm just like, forget it. This isn't the day. But a lot of times when I do get that started, within an hour or so, I've got a full song structured as far as the chord structure with verse and
now that
chorus.
brings me to a question, Doug.
Yeah.
So I've heard some of the songs that you don't do. There's a couple I really like that you didn't do.
Yeah.
And if you were going to produce these songs, now when you put these songs out on Reverb and SoundCloud, there are other parts in your songs. So do you play the bass to these, or what instruments are you bringing into these songs?
Yeah, I do. And let me just say, I've never really made a proper album in my life, and I know I'm long overdue to make a real record, especially with the amount of songs I have. But I've always self-produced myself. I haven't really focused so much on the production end. I got a little bit into recording. I bought an 8-track tape back in the 90s. That's when I really started writing songs and getting into it. And I multi-track and I did everything myself. So yes, I had a bass. I was using maybe a drum machine at the time, and singing my own backup vocals. And I'd lay down, I'd lay down all the parts. So yes, there's never anyone else on those recordings with me. But I've done it very simply, and I don't have that 8-track. That was a cassette recording system. And, since then I've done it very simply and on the cheap. So what I produce is usually just something real simple I just use like GarageBand on a free app on my iPad and just pretty much record straight in. And sometimes I get around to multi-tracking it and trying to make something a little bit more band-like, a full sound. But a lot of times I'll just record straight in, just playing me live on my acoustic guitar.
That brings me to another question. One of the things I learned about songwriting that I knew nothing about, my first few songs are not that great and probably not still, but I keep banging away on it and learning. And one of the things that really was helpful for me was the opinion of somebody who knows music, knows how to produce music, knows what sounds good and how to put things together. If you had to choose a song of yours that you produced, the way you've explained it, which songs would you like to actually put on a track in a studio?
Well, certainly ones like you mentioned. I think some of the ones that have really stood the test of time, and pretty much all the songs I'm playing now are songs I've written in the last 10-year period. So it is fairly recent. A lot of them are in the last three or 4-year period. So like songs like Common Man, sure, and maybe 70 Miles and Bad Dream, those songs that you mentioned, those are ones that now I've been playing them for a Feeling Fine is another one I really like. I've been playing those
Mossy one too. What about the Mossy one?
Oh, now that's a pretty new, and that's only a few months old now, but yeah, Covered in Moss. So they keep on coming, and usually by the time I'm thinking about recording something, I've already moved on to recording more writing more songs. And so it seems like that's the one thing that's always backed up on my calendar is just trying to get these things down on tape. so right now the focus has really been just on getting out and performing them and really getting them down. And I found as I've been doing all these performances that the songs have taken on some new meanings to me. And I feel like I'm playing. It's like I'm getting to know the song over the years. It's kind of hard to explain, but it really does take on a life of its own in some ways, and sometimes changes over the years depending on what's going on in your life. And you start thinking, oh, that I was maybe actually thinking about something in the future that's happening now when I wrote this song. That happens to me a lot, where I feel like I'm sort of predicting the future sometimes. but it really depends. But yes, that's one thing I really want to do is make a real. That's kind of the next step is make a real record.
What
And
would you
I don't know
change?
what songs. I don't know what songs are going to go on it.
From
Common Man for sure will be on there, and Feeling
what would you
Fine for sure will be
change?
on there.
What would you change in the songs that we've mentioned?
Hmm?
If you were recording it, what would you change, if anything? How would you? What would
Oh,
be
I
the
don't think I would check. The only thing that really changes for me over time, sometimes I'll tweak a few lyrics, but musically, I don't change much. It's really the dynamics that I think have changed over the years, because I've become so much more aware of the dynamics when you're performing, going from, just emotional dynamics, right? And going from soft to in rhythms, just really knowing when to emphasize certain chords and certain words. That's the process that I find has really come a long way for me just since I've been performing out so much. And I never really understood how important that was until I've gotten to about where I am right now. And I still feel like I've got a long way to go.
Don't we all? That's
It never ends.
never
That's the
ending
beauty
story.
I'm a student of, just like I used to always say as a swimming coach, and it was my same approach there. I was a real student of the sport. And as an athlete myself, I was always just studying the sport and trying to wanting to grow with it. And that's the same, my passion for music through my whole life has been the same way. I'm still just fascinated listening to old music, new music. I listen to everything, and just the whole creative process, including producing. I think if I wasn't doing that, I think I could be a good producer, to be honest. I think that's one. I feel like I've got a
Yeah,
really
it's
good
something you
ear.
need to do.
I feel like I've got it, but I just don't have a studio set up.
Yeah, well,
But I have an
that's
ear for
in your
what I
future.
think sounds good, and at least to me, it's what sounds good. But I just feel like I've got a good feel for it. And sound is just such an important part of my life. Just what music does to me, emotion,
We
everything
do
else.
have some comments. I don't know if you can see them on your screen.
Oh no, I can't.
Okay. Somebody said, hi, guys. And I want to remind you guys, when you do make comments, to let us know who you are so that
Yeah.
we can properly say hi. And somebody said, great set last night, Doug. And of course, I missed it. I had to leave early, but I haven't been
Oh,
feeling
thanks. I wonder who that is.
I want to make sure that
It
I
was a
got
little
home in
sloppy,
bed.
but
Oh, what's that?
it was a little sloppy. But the last two, I got to get up there with Doug McGrew and
Yeah.
and Lynn at the very end, and we did a couple, and I think that was pretty fun. Anyway.
Yeah. And then we've got an awesome Doug. But again, I don't know who these people are, so you have to let us know, okay? So I understand that you have started playing electric guitar and you started doing the leads for jams and becoming a jam host. I also know that you have a couple guys that you've been practicing with that you're interested in. And I think you have done a few band gigs. Is that correct? So you're kind of working on
We're kind of working on it right now. Yeah. We've got the three of us. When we did play last night, Joe and
yes, Edgar.
Joe and Edgar's, and I'm excited. We're trying to, we're basically taking what I do acoustically and doing it in a band format. So I'm actually playing electric guitar and a lot of the stuff, and of course bass and drums, and it's I really enjoy that. It's something I've always. I mean, my goal was never to be an acoustic solo performer. It's just that's that's sort of how, as far as making this a career and trying to make a living, that seemed like the easiest and the best route to go right now. And I got the offers to come play solo shows, and So it obviously has its advantages, but I do miss play. I did miss a lot. Just the chemistry of playing with other people and the sound. I do love. I mean, I'm at heart. I'm really a rock and roll kind of guy. As far as I love bands. I've loved rock music my whole life, and I've never really followed like acoustic solo artist in my life. It's just something I do, but I see myself as sort of a one man band when I'm doing that. But I do hear it in my mind. I hear it with a full band, so I'm excited to see what happens when we go out and we play. I think people will be surprised that we actually, I think we'll be a pretty intense rock band once we get out and start gigging.
Yeah. I'm sorry I missed that. I would have liked to heard that last night. So hopefully it'll happen again, right?
Oh, it's going to happen a lot. Yeah, yeah. We've only rehearsed together 3 times now, I think. So we've got a long way to go because we're trying to get 3 hours worth of music together so we can go play any gig.
Okay, so what I'm hearing from what you're saying is that these songs just automatically come to you. You have days where the music is in your head and it just comes out by itself. I mean, obviously you're thinking about it, but it's something that you want to address. Also, that you've increased in 1 year. You've gone from being a solo artist to all these other things, including putting together a band. So that's obviously your future and where you're moving. And of course, we all know that the ones who pay the best are the casinos. So the better you get,
Hmm.
the better the money is eventually. Not that it's all that great, but at least it's a little bit better.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. The solo gigs
also, even
don't.
reaching further, you were telling me that you were interested in producing, and I think that's another goal that's out there that sounds like something that you could easily do and be really good at.
Not to sound selfish, but what I really what I really meant by that is I like producing myself. Actually, I like recording. I like the process of doing it. I wish I had a setup so I could do it. I do enjoy working with other people and helping them, and I have had little recently a couple people I've worked with where I have had an opportunity not to really produce them, but to help them work on songs and give them some ideas for like a bridge in the middle of the song, things like that, or
Which means
just
that you're
harmony
also
and some
teaching
guitar.
these people,
Hmm?
right? You do
What?
teaching. You teach as well.
Yeah,
That
I do. And right now, yeah, that's kind of been on the back burner just because I've been out doing my solo gigs so much. But yes, it's something I do really enjoy, and and I think in a way though, it's probably what's kept me from making a proper record too. Besides the money involved in trying
yeah,
to do that, but it's just kind of thinking, well, I kind of like to just do it myself because I know what I want it to sound like, and
right.
but at the same time, I mean, I'd love to work with a great producer too. Um, but yeah, I mean, anyway, maybe producing will be in the cards for me someday too. Anything related to music that way, whether it's performing or in a band, solo, or helping produce other people,
Well,
teaching. I mean, that's my passion. Just anything related to it.
you've done a
Music.
tremendous amount in just a year. So I can imagine a year from now, if I'm still doing this, you're going to be even farther down the trail.
Well, I'm hoping to start playing. Yes, I want it right now. I mean, the cool thing in this last year is besides just playing like breweries and wineries and that sort of thing. And wineries are interesting because they're a little small. It's usually quiet,
Yeah.
and I like to. They're great, and I enjoy doing those performances. But I have more fun at the ones where I can really crank it up, and people are there for music, not just for background ambiance. So I'm really looking forward to going to the next level of performing, at clubs, small venues, getting up, more into those, bigger venues that are more where people are coming there for the music, and that's what they pay to come see. That's where I want to be a year from now.
So somebody else is saying hi to me, but I don't know who they are. So please put your name on your comments. Um, And I understand you're going to show us some of these songs that you've written, pick up by playing them. Is that
I
correct?
am. I no. I
All
I
right.
thought I didn't say I was going to
Okay.
do. I don't think my guitar is even tuned.
Good. All right. I will get out of your way, and the floor is yours. Which
Oh,
song are you going?
oh,
Songs
you're
are
going to
you
make
going
me
to do?
play a song?
Yeah, Common Man.
Okay. Jeez.
At least that one. I don't know
Whoa,
about the
whoa,
rest.
I do happen to have my guitar
Okay.
here.
Hi, Rosie.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Here you go.
Well, I don't know. I'm pretty close to the camera here. I didn't. Okay. Well, I still have my morning voice, so forgive me, but. If anybody knows me, I'm always having trouble with my tuning. Okay, here it is. You're hiding something that we should know. You're hiding something you don't want to show. It ain't money, it ain't gold. No, this is something where heads are gonna roll. Yeah, this is something you don't want us to know. Yeah, this is something from way, way down below. Back in the alley behind your street, they're congregating, turning up the heat. They want their lives back in their control. They're gonna fight you and get back their soul. And this is something you know they've got to do. Yeah, this is something that started with you. You turned the tables on everyone. You had us think you were the chosen one. Well, soon you'll go down like the setting sun. You made us suffer while you had your fun. And this is something you don't understand. Yeah, this is something you stole from the common man. Yeah, this is something you don't understand, that you stole from the common man. And we know you don't give a damn about the common man. You're hiding something we should know. You're hiding something you don't want to show. It ain't money, no, it ain't gold. No, this is something where heads are gonna roll. Yeah, heads are gonna roll. Heads are gonna roll. Heads are gonna roll. Yeah, this is something you don't understand, that you stole from the common man. And we know you don't give a damn about the common man. About the common man.
Thank you, Doug.
You really put me on the spot there.
Singer-songwriter Doug Rusk.
I wasn't warmed up or anything. I didn't really know you were going to make me play, but I survived it. It didn't sound terrible.
We got a comment from Brian. He says, Brian Burnett, who's also just joined the band. I don't
That's
remember.
right. The guy, he was there last night, right?
What's,
the guy at the Twin Dragon last night, right?
Yeah,
Brian?
he did.
Oh, yeah.
He had a beautiful wife who's a model. 2 lovely children that I know of, 2 boys, very active,
Nice.
very Brian-like. And he says, "Go, Doug, go."
Yeah.
So I won't force you to do another song, but I would like.
I can show you my songwriting process later.
Okay.
If you want to just see. I mean,
Yeah.
since you asked, probably the best
Yes.
thing to do is just kind of show you how I would start a song. I'll keep it real short, but
Okay.
you know, I mean,
Go
well, it
for
just
it.
depends. You know, usually when I pick up my guitar to write a song, whatever, you know, I like to move my capo around a lot. I'm always recording different tunings. So if I happen to be in an open G tuning in capo 6 from the day before from some song I was performing, sometimes that's where I'll write the song, just because I don't mess around. I don't really think about I don't like to think about it. So right now I'm just in standard tuning, but I would, I just pick up and I'll just, just start going. I don't know. I'll just try to find. Well, it's time, babe. Come on, babe. We'll see what you do to me. Yeah, hold me, love. Hold me someday. Anyway, it just starts going in weird directions. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But I just start, I don't really think about it. I just let it happen, and that's usually kind of how I write. And then as far as the lyrics, I'll come back and plug those in later because I've got the syllables all worked out, the vocal line and all that. And then one way I found I really like to write now is just get out and go for a long walk, and I'll make a simple little recording of that song with just nonsense words, and then I'll just go out and I'll start thinking of a theme of some sort and just start writing. I'll just dictate onto my phone when I'm out walking, and a lot of times I'll come back after a 45-minute hour walk and I'll have the whole song written. So
what do you think? Where do you think the source of your skills are? Where do you think this all
of my skills or inspiration?
Well, both. Let's address both.
Well, my skills, I've been obsessed with music since I was a kid, and I've been playing. I really picked up the guitar the first time when I was 5 or 6 years old, I think, and dabbled with it all through high school. And, so anyway, and I spent a lot of time just teaching myself. So I never really had formal lessons, but if you've heard of that 10,000 hour rule, they say to become, to become competent or whatever in anything, you have to put in your 10,000 hours or I definitely have done that. And it just, over time, anyway, so I spent a lot of time just noodling around, listening to other musicians, just teaching myself, trying to learn songs. I used to try to learn every song in the book. I used to try to learn heavy metal song. My first guitar was a little in high school that I remember having was a hand-me-down nylon string guitar, and at the time I was listening to a lot of heavy metal. So I'm listening to this heavy distorted guitar and playing along with the record on my little nylon string guitar, trying to get the rhythms down just perfect and everything. So that's sort of one place I learned, and then but yeah, no formal training, and I do a little piano here and there, and like I said, I can play some bass. Never played drums really. never played drums. Inspiration wise, it's all over the map. I write about. I do sense I kind of have a lot of common themes, and I think they tend to be like, themes of longings or fears, regrets, things like that, social observations, relationship issues, all that kind of stuff. and sometimes they sound very personal, and sometimes they are. But sometimes the songs that sound personal really aren't. So I just, and that can be hard with people who know you very well, if they think you're writing about them, and actually you're not. You're picturing someone else's situation that you think people can relate to. Because I do think more about that now when I'm writing. That obviously I want to write songs that as many people can relate to as possible, but it still has to have meaning for me.
Right.
But so it's usually a combination of personal experiences and feelings that I'm sharing with just knowing of those experiences and feelings of other people.
Yes. I have to admit that I find you a very emotional guy. You have deep feelings for people, and it doesn't always show, but it comes out in your music. We do have another comment from Brian. He says, I totally relate to that. Wait a minute. To that, because I always feel my way through songwriting. And Brian Burnett, I had him here before, and he's also a singer-songwriter. I can say as a singer-songwriter that I do a lot of what you do. I just start noodling on the guitar and playing different things, and all of a sudden, words start coming, and then I start writing them down. But I don't. It doesn't come to me as often as you, Doug.
Yeah, yeah, the thing I find is I guess I never feel like I run out of ideas or even close. And then Brian can probably relate to this too. Maybe you can too, Joy. But I mean, no matter how boring or mundane a little, obviously you can play the same three chords and come up with so many different
Exactly.
ways to express yourself. And I find you can always come up with something that sounds cool just off something really simple. It might just start by finding some, a lot of times I'll just be playing around and all of a sudden, I don't know, I'll just find some cool sounding, I don't know, just, or some voicing of a, like here's a G chord and, here's another voicing of a G chord. And I recently wrote a song like that where it just kind of starts like, and it just kind of goes from there. And then you're just like, and there's, of course, you could go in a lot of different ways with the vocal line you choose. And sometimes I'll come back with I think I have a song done, but then I'll say, I like the chord structure, but I'm going to try a completely different vocal approach and see what happens. And I just kind of go until it just does,
it sounds like an
goosebumps.
artist.
If it gives me goosebumps, then I know I'm onto something good, at least good in my mind. And then I want to share it. The thing is once I've written a song, I do, and you know this about me, Joy. Like a lot of times I'll show up at the Oxford and I'll want to play a song that I just wrote that day or the day before because I'm so into it at the moment, and I've been playing it all day. And usually that's not the best idea to go out and play a brand new song under the spotlight when you don't really know it very well yet. Anyway, but I have a tendency to want to do that. I'm always wanting to play do something new.
This brings me to something else. What's going on? I mean, I've seen your winery gigs, and you always, I tend to be more vocal with the audience. I think when I'm doing a gig, and I often wonder what's on your mind. I mean, people are talking, but they're also letting you know that they're listening.
Mm-hmm.
And some people get up in your face. I mean, that's kind of normal. But when you're up there in a winery or in any kind of gig, it doesn't matter. What are you thinking or feeling inside as you look across at the audience?
Well, a lot of times it's like, how come there aren't more people here?
Yeah, it's hard to get people.
But there's nothing more fun than playing to a packed house. And I have to say, I'll give two examples. I mean, the complete opposite. I mean, I played Patterson Cellars out there in Woodinville on Friday night a while ago, and the place was just packed, and it was so fun, and everybody was giving me thumbs up and loving it. And then there's a gig I played almost right next door to there a few days ago, and there's nobody in there, completely empty. It was in an afternoon, and that's the part. I definitely respond a lot better when there's people there, and especially when there's people I know it brings out a side of me that makes me really want to deliver, the best I've got. But sometimes, if you're thinking too much, and I know sometimes I've been in performing and you're starting to think about whether people are paying attention or you get upset about something, you see someone's ignoring you, not paying attention, having a big conversation over at the table there, when you're trying to play one of your new songs. And that stuff is kind of the kiss of death for a good performance when you start letting that get to you. So I try to really, I mean, when I'm playing at my best, I know it's when I'm just totally lost in my own song and just trying to feel that song with everything I've got, and whether anybody's paying attention or not.
Right.
So I try to get in that state of mind, but I don't know if most musicians are the same as me, but I do really thrive on audience response. So if I've got people that are enjoying what I'm doing and there's a lot of people there, I feel really good about, I guess it's just, if you're feeling better about yourself when you're performing, and it just makes you want to deliver even more.
Yeah, I think that we've got similar feelings about that. But last night when I was playing up there, I noticed people came up to dance, and that gives me the
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that's cool.
That's when I know I'm doing my job. If people are coming up to dance, that means that I'm hitting something somewhere that makes them want to hit
Right.
that dance floor.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm always surprised
Yeah.
yeah, it's a great feeling when people do, and I've never considered myself writing anything resembling dance music, so I'm not usually offended if people don't come up and dance, but it
Yeah,
is
it's a
sometimes it kind
different.
of strikes me. I'll be playing something that I don't think anybody would possibly want to dance to. It's like, well, this isn't dance music, and somebody will come up and just totally be grooving. It's
Yep.
like, wow, and that did happen last night. I think
Okay,
Brian might have
good.
been one of them out there.
So what? How can our listeners reach you? How can we find? I know, but the people out
Yeah.
there may not, and people listening right now know you and probably know where to find you on Reverb Nation and your bio and your EPK, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But for anybody who's listening that has not heard this stuff, and I know at least one person is going to be listening afterwards, where can we find your information and where do we look when we get there? And I know
Well,
you post a lot, matured musicians, so that's number one.
what's that?
Matured musicians, you post a lot there when your gigs, your everyday gigs.
Yeah, I do. I do. I've finally gotten, I didn't used to post to anything except Facebook to like advertise my shows. That's another topic, I guess. But now I've got about 12 different sites I post to. And I don't know if that really gets, I mean, I always wonder if anybody shows up to my shows due to a post that I, found out about my show through a post. I mean, people that don't know me in particular looking to see a show. But that's another thing on my list for this year is I do need to create my own music website. Reverb Nation is what I use right now, and that's really the most comprehensive place to find my songs. I have videos. They're all, they're not professional. Well, I don't want to say not professional, but they're kind of low key as we talked about before, recordings and videos, and but they give you a good idea of what the song is and my performance. It's got my calendar of all my shows and lots of pictures and that kind of stuff. And so that's the main one. It's Reverb Nation, Doug Rusk. That's how you find it. I don't post very much. I'm not on Facebook that much, to be honest. So I haven't been posting a lot there, but so I would just say, yeah, find me on Reverb Nation. I do have SoundCloud too. So just SoundCloud, Doug Rusk, and that needs to be seriously updated with some new songs because most of those recordings are a little old by now. Need to be updated.
So, what are your plans for your band? Edgar, I know Edgar because he comes into Jam and Duval when I'm there,
Mm-hmm.
and he's gone from being really shy about playing to being very confident in comparison to where he was months ago. And he's also played bass for my country stuff, and I thought he was really doing good. And then, of course, there's Joe. And I remember when he first came into Duval, that was quite a while ago, 2020, maybe 2020, when he first started coming in. And oh my goodness, he has just improved so much. And I know
Yeah,
you
both
practiced
of them,
with him.
sure.
And I know you also did a gig or two with him. So
Yeah, I've done one gig with him last year, and then that was our band. It was just drums and guitar, and now we've added Edgar's. And yes, the truth is, one thing I'm really excited about with those guys, and we haven't really discussed any goals so much yet. We're just trying to get a set. I mean, we've just talked about let's get some songs down, let's get enough material so we can go play, and then we'll figure out where we're going to start. We'll get it out there. And
have you thought of a name yet?
But the one, what's that?
Have you thought of a name yet?
Well, no, I don't want to. No, I don't have a name yet. But I do want to talk real quick about what one of the reasons I really am excited about working with them, as opposed to maybe some guys that have been doing this forever and are serious pro musicians, which I know I could go in that direction too, looking to form a band. But I'm excited that I feel like the three of us are all hungry, very hungry right now. Like we're 20 somethings trying to get a rock band going, you know, even though we're a little bit older than that. But you know, right. Edgar's is just getting, he's just learning the bass, but he's a quick study, and he's
Yes.
got a lot of musical experience. He's a sound guy. He's worked with a lot of professional musicians. And then Joe, I think his drumming I know he's really serious about getting good. And he spent a lot of time picking Doug McGrew's brain on drumming and stuff. And yeah, like you said, he's improved a ton. And so I just feel like the energy of three guys that are really wanting to get out there. And I say me too, because I'm still relatively unknown, certainly in the rock world.
Right.
And we are going to be a rock band, right? In the rock world, I'm pretty unknown. I mean, I'm just known as the acoustic solo guy for most people that know my music. So that's why I'm really excited, because I feel like we're all going to continue improving so much in the coming year or two. So I really hope it works out, that we're going to make this thing happen.
Good.
Yeah.
I wish you all the best, and I hope
Thanks.
you continue. These guys they've got a lot of potential, so you've got somewhere to go with that.
Yeah, and I still want to keep, and I don't ever plan to abandon the solo show stuff, but it'd be nice to have a balance
Right.
of both band and solo
Yes.
gigs.
So moving on a little further down the line, on some of your challenges and whatever, what would you say during this period of time, for the last time we interviewed until now, what have been your challenges and how have you overcome them, if you have?
Well, one of my challenges, you know, I book all my own shows, and I've had some people ask me like how are you getting so many shows? Or do you have an agent or this and that? And it's like, the truth is, I started with just a handful of gigs, maybe at one place or another place, and it just kept leading to more stuff. So, you know, it's taken, you know, I did have to go out and, you know, knock on doors and really try to sell myself just to get in the door of a lot of places. And once I got in the door, I was almost always asked back, and wherever I played. And so it's just that's what's happening. And then word has gotten out to other people. And so I've been getting hired for a variety of things. So it's just, you know, I've made so many connections in the last year. So, I'm getting a lot of private parties and corporate events and things outside of just the typical winery and bar scene gigs. But that's been one of the biggest challenges for me, is really just getting in the door to a lot of these places, because they have their established people that they've, you know, like even the Oxford, same thing. Like they've got their bands that play every Friday and Saturday night. They rotate through, I don't know how many, but they're for the most part, they're bands that been around for a long time and everybody knows them and that kind of stuff. And so that's been the challenge, is just trying to get my music out there.
So if you're going to give someone advice about how to go about doing this, especially since you're really good at it, first of all, you got to have talent, obviously. But what would your recommendations be to our listeners out there who are trying to do this, including me? I'm not going to lie. I haven't even started, but I do hope to pursue it. And so just a little bit about how you've done this. I mean, I know you've had to sell yourself, but how do you find these places? How do you get there?
Well, never give up. My first advice is never give up. You know, I had a few people tell me at one point, it's like some other musicians are out there saying, yeah, this guy didn't call me back or whatever. He's like, yeah, I don't know if I should call him again. And this guy said, well, my rule is I never, you know, I'll call twice, and after that, I'll never call him back again. I don't want to bother them, or they're not interested. Well, I kind of took the opposite approach, and there's been places where, you know, I kept coming back and trying, and maybe 10 times reaching out to them, until finally I wore them down, and they said, okay, we'll get you in for a gig. And then I figure once I get in the door, you know, I'll get back again. But then one of the challenges is, of course, you got to get a lot of these kind of shows. You got to get people to show up, or the people hiring you aren't going to be that thrilled about your coming back. If
I
you know,
know that was one of
see,
your
that's happened to me
challenges.
quite a bit too.
I know
But I've
that
had
was a challenge of yours because you told me, why are people not showing up? I mean, there's a place, oh gosh, what's it called? Jury was there too, right on the corner.
oh yeah, yeah, the Looking Glass coffee.
Looking Glass, and nobody was there, and it's like, oh
Right,
my
right. And everybody
gosh.
was, and a lot of people that knew me and stuff were just sitting a block down the street,
Yeah, they were.
So yeah, but that's just, I've just come to accept that's, that's part of the business, and you just have to learn not to take it personally, and one thing I've really, I think from my coaching career, and I had to work with a lot of parent boards, and I went through a lot of, 30 years of being a head coach, and I did learn how to. I mean, I won't say I have a thick skin because I really don't, but I've learned how to get a thicker skin, and to not take things so personally, and how to, and just to keep selling yourself, and just don't give up. I think if you're enthusiastic about what you do and you have a passion for it, and you're determined to always deliver when you go out and perform, and you're really determined to give a quality product, people are they're gonna feel it, and more people are gonna come into your world, and you just have to be patient. So that's basically, I'm just still in that stage where I realize, I feel like, I mean, obviously with the number of gigs I've been getting, like 150 this last year, my world is opening up to a bigger and wider audience. But it's going to take a lot of time, and especially I think starting this late. Um, I mean, my peer group, for the most part, they already have their music tastes established by this age, and they've already had their bands they like to go see. So a lot of those people, it is hard to get them to come out, and especially when you're playing 4 or 5 shows a week, they can't come to all of them. So anyway, the marketing side of it is always a challenge, and at some point I may need to go to some kind of professional marketing to help get me out there, because it is a lot of work to do it by yourself. But that's how I've done it so far. But I just through email mostly, and picking up the phone, but I do go stop by places too and tell them about me, and just say, yeah, give me a chance. Or sometime you give me a chance to come in and just show you what I can do. And I've even gone in and done a free show for somebody up an hour and a half from here. One time, who didn't even end up hiring me, but he just wanted to check out my stuff, and it's like, sure, I'll give it a shot. And so I just try to take every opportunity. I'd say is the other advice I would give is don't think, oh, this one's dumb, I don't want to do this gig, or this one's not going to be, it doesn't pay very much, I don't want to do that one. Take everything you can get. That's my advice. And so I started that by going to open mics, where I just play every chance I could. I'd go to an open mic and play. And now it's like, I'll take, I have so many different gigs that I go to of different styles, like playing at healthcare facilities, and just all kinds of different types of gigs. And sometimes, I've done some weird ones. Like I got hired to come play 2 songs for this couple that was getting back together after 20 years. And this guy wanted to surprise his wife, and he hired me to come sing them a couple of love songs. That was one of my more interesting and funny gigs, but it worked out really well, and it was actually fun. And so I just try to get as many experiences, and collaborating with people like with you, and with all these people. It's like, if you have an opportunity to get together, even if you feel like, I don't have time really today, I should be working on my own music and stuff. I just think all those experiences, and especially when you're reaching out and networking with more and more
Right.
people, eventually things are going to build
That's
from
the
there.
key.
But you just have to
Networking.
stick with it and be patient and be determined to not give up. And that's can be hard financially. So I've been lucky that I'm able to make it work.
I got a comment here from Hot Rodster, Rodney Landert from the Hot Rodsters. So hi,
Oh yeah.
Rodney. Nice to tune in. So when I last saw you at the Looking Glass, um, I was wondering how you're going to pull out of that. I mean, I can't even imagine uh, people not being at a gig. I mean, usually when I go to gigs, there's always somebody there, but not because
Mhm.
necessarily because of me, but because it's an event or whatever. And, I've never had to walk into a room and spend 2 hours playing with nobody there. And I don't know how to
Yeah.
handle that, but you obviously did. And I think you were kind of mentioning it when we were talking about how you, although you're a very sensitive man, and it's normal to feel like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah. Why
You
does anybody
manage
come
to get a
to me?
thicker skin and say, well, maybe they're just all busy with something else they feel that was important for them to do. And the
Yeah,
next time around, maybe they'll be there.
exactly. And that is the attitude that you have to have. Yes. It's like, it's not something I did wrong that nobody's here. It's people have their own stuff going on. It's like, yeah, people have, and the truth is, so many of the people that like my music I know and that are fans of mine are also musicians out there trying to, they're doing their own gigs. So
Yes.
we only have so much time. I'll be the first to admit I don't really go out and see a lot of other people's gigs, and not that I don't love their music, but I just usually there's a conflict, or it's maybe the only day that I have, or the only night I have off, or
Right.
to work, to be at home, or just work
Right.
on work on my own songs. You know,
Have you ever regretted, and you say you've been doing this about 2 years, right? Have you ever
2 years
regretted?
officially.
Yeah. Have you ever regretted any of it? Your decision? I mean, that had to be a big
Oh, even if I
decision.
regretted, have I
Yeah.
ever
Being a
said I
full-time
shouldn't have
musician.
done this? I should have stuck with my other job? No, never. I am so glad that I decided to do this. No, I can't tell you how much better it's just made me feel overall as a person, and just my stress levels too, my blood pressure, everything has just come way. I mean, even though, yes, there's stresses in anything, and there's politics in anything, and there's business stuff that sucks that you don't want to deal with, but I have the skills for that and I can handle it. But just to have the freedom now to do what I really love to do, and to actually have people that you make happy with what you do, where in a lot of other jobs, including coaching, you don't get that so much. Even no matter how good you are and how what kind of success you have and results, you don't make people just really fulfilled in the same way you do when you give yourself through music. I mean, that's, I truly believe that. And so just that sharing on that level, just feels so good, and makes me feel better about myself as a person. And it just makes me overall a happier person.
Yeah, there's something I do
I don't
want
have
to.
no regrets, no regrets. I hope I can do this for a long time to come. I
I
know I'm
want to
starting late in
address.
the game, but
I want to address this with you before we go. Uh, you look at fellow musicians as a way to network and grow, and you see them all, from what you've been saying, as opportunities to
mhm.
either grow or become better at something, or network and get a gig or whatever. Where I, on the other hand, have the opposite problem. And it's very, very difficult. Oftentimes, I feel like it's an old, this is an old boys club. I mean, good old boys club, and you don't see very many musicians, women musicians. I mean, they're out there, but
Mhm.
they're still limited compared to the men.
That is true.
And one of the things I wanted to say was, of all musicians out there are a couple that I think are noteworthy as far as encouragement and accepting me into the band as, I would say, more of an equal than just some woman trying to get up there and sing and play guitar like
Mhm.
I'm just some newbie off the street. I've been doing this 20 years. I mean, that should count for something, right?
Yeah,
And
it
you,
does.
you and Joe have been my biggest support. You, Joe, and Lynn uh,
Oh, thank you.
have not ever, as far as I can see, ever really given me that feeling that, um, yeah, I don't belong there, or I'm not in the right place, or whatever. And I do appreciate that support. It's hard for a woman to get a support to get the support in bands that are primarily male bands. And of course, there are other people out there. I don't want to say that all my experience have not been perfect or the same, because they have, but there are a few people out there that just, they don't want women in the band, and they don't like women coming up and playing. And Rodney, if you're still listening, you're one of the good ones.
Joy, let me just say, I totally admire what you're doing, and I understand that in your position, you're in a very challenge. I mean, I'm talking about the challenges I have, and I totally get that in your situation it's more challenging, and for women musicians in general, regardless of age or anything else. You're right. I mean, I've seen a lot of great women musicians before, or just seen them or heard a song of theirs or watched them play by themselves, and that, say, so you must be gigging around. No, I don't. It's like, no, nobody will hire me, and this. Anyway, there's obviously women out there that are working professionally and getting hired. A lot of them in music, but it is an unlevel playing field that way, and there's certainly an old boys club mentality in the music industry. Always has been.
When I listen to country radio, The Wolf, I hear 6 to 8 male songs before they get around to a female song.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Well, I'll tell you, some of my favorite musicians are women. So I definitely, and I have none of that attitude that I wouldn't want to play with.
I agree.
Or collaborate with a woman. To me, music, I just like collaborating. Music is music. And as far as, right, you're talking about, there are some musicians that kind of feel like they're superior to you, not necessarily male, female related, just because they're pros, right? And you're kind of an amateur, and, they look down their nose at you. Yeah, that bothers me too. And I still get that. I get that from people who have been in the industry for a long time, who I think don't really have much respect for me, and that's okay. It doesn't matter to me. But I try not to, as I feel like I'm getting better and better, I certainly don't. I never want to be that person that makes someone else feel like they're not as good as me.
Yes. No. So just a word out there to the audience and musicians listening. And yes, Rodney thank you. Rodney made a comment. He said, "Joy, your country hot." And he's been a supporter. I hope that as time goes by, more and more women will be able to be accepted as equals to men, not only for their singing, but for their playing as well. And it takes time. And all this stuff, like your progress in a year and my progress and all the rest, it just takes time for people to become accepting and change all attitudes and habits of life.
It does. And I just want to mention one other thing, about the opportunities, playing with different people. It's not just the opportunities, it's the camaraderie. And
yes. Absolutely.
Like I feel like you're a true friend, Joy, and so many of these other musicians. It's not just that I like being there so I can make another connection or get them to show up to a gig. I really do enjoy the friendships that I've made with so many people since I started doing music. It's just a wonderful, for the most part. Like anywhere, there's people you don't like as much as others, but but there's a lot of wonderful, caring, and certainly creative people out there, and those are the kind of people I like to be around, because they tend to be positive energy people. And I like to be around people that are low energy or negative about life.
Absolutely. So with that, I guess we're closing now. I don't know why that hour always goes so fast, but it does.
Probably because I talk so much.
Well, I don't know about that, but it's 3 minutes after 1. So thanks everybody for being out there listening. And
thanks for having me, Joy, and thanks for everybody for tuning in.
Welcome.
Watching.
I only have one booking left in November. So if anybody out there wants to come on to my show and interview, I don't have any openings until I believe somewhere around the 20th, somewhere towards the end of the month in November. And just contact me. I'd be happy to get you on. And I do want to thank you, Doug, and all the people who have commented and listened today. I appreciate that. And you have a good and safe rest of your day. And I'll see you tonight, Doug, at the Oxford.
All right.
But you got to promise me you'll sing happy birthday to Kurt.
Oh, you want me to sing happy birthday?
Yeah.
How
Now
about this?
he's not here tonight. Not
Oh, I thought you meant right now. I was
no,
gonna do this
baby.
one. Say it's your birthday. My birthday too, yeah. Okay, I'll do that one tonight.
All right. See you guys, everybody.
All right.
Bye-bye. Well, that's it for the show today. Do tune in. I have another guest coming. Not sure I know which one at this point. I didn't look before I started. I apologize. In the meantime, have a good rest of your week, and hope you all have a safe journey out there when you take to the streets. Talk to you later. Bye.